Hi, thank you for watching this video today. I'm Phil Smith. I work very closely with Justin Steinle, who is married to Jill Steinle here at Mid Dakota Clinic. And today what I wanted to do was really just introduce MMG and how we help a lot of our hospital clients drive more patients, compete in a highly competitive market. And really what I'd like to do is, once I've been able to kind of introduce who MMG is, how we help some of the clients that we do have, but also really looking at some of the opportunities that we've identified, at least in the digital space for Mid Dakota Clinic, specifically looking at the 800-pound gorilla in the room, which is Stanford Health. So ultimately, again, the goal here is to sit down with you guys and really have a conversation around how you are judging the performance of your current programs, if you are investing in digital, and then also how are you tracking from lead to patient and really properly leveraging technologies like CRMs and EHRs to more effectively run your marketing campaigns. So our team, we are headquartered here in Cleveland, but as I mentioned, we do have partners and employees like Justin Steinle in the North Dakota market. We are very, very focused on measurement and ROI. And we're a growing agency. We've got 50 going on 60 full-time employees, and ultimately we have really focused on our client experience. And as you can see by our core values down there, being advisor and drive results are very near and dear to our heart. So as you can see, we're a boutique agency with enterprise level talent. And what we do is we dedicate full teams to our clients so that, again, you have an active strategy team that's working with you on a month-over-month basis to ensure the best results for you. And as I mentioned, we do work with a lot of clients. We've got over 125 that have over 5,000 locations in the US, Canada, and the UK. Specifically, I'd like to point out some of our larger hospital systems that we do work with and talk a little bit about how we really help their online marketing as well as lead generation. So we work with the Cleveland Clinic, Parkview Health, and Parkview's Physician Group. All of those are those 2 or 3 entities there. What they're really investing in is local visibility. They understand that they need to really dominate their local markets. They need to make sure that their name, address, phone number is properly represented. They need to make sure that their locations show up when people are searching for non-branded services in their local markets, and make sure that their doctors show up. If somebody searches, say, bariatric surgery, we would like one of the Cleveland Clinic or one of the physicians over at Parkview to actually have their Google My Business listing show up so that they can also be visible, so that they can, again, receive that phone call and accept new patients. We also work with some regional providers, one being King's Daughters Health. Again, specifically for them, we're doing a holistic SEO and paid search program that also includes local listings, and ultimately, again, for them, very focused on how they're representing in the paid section. So are they spending their dollars efficiently? Does the cost per lead meet their needs? Does the cost per patient acquisition meet their business goals? And really helping them connect from an analytics standpoint from lead to actual patient. And again, we do invest in a lot of tools, but the biggest thing is it's a customized solution. So as I mentioned, what I want to do is hopefully sit down with you guys and spend about an hour just better understanding Mid Dakota Clinic. It's really important for us to understand what channels you're already investing in, what has been successful. Again, things like what is your highest or largest margin service line. So again, we know a lot of hospitals are focused on revenue streams, and things like bariatric surgery are on the top of their list. So again, how do we make sure that we meet not only our marketing goals but also our overall business goals? And again, what we really want to make sure that we're doing is we're focusing on the patient journey. How are our patients finding us? We know that this is the information age. Our patients are going to go to 10 plus sources of information before they even reach out. And they're going to be halfway through this process before they ever pick the phone up to schedule a consultation. And so they're going to go to sources like your website, Sanford's website, WebMD. They're going to go to blogs, resources, they're going to watch videos, they're going to talk to their friends in the local market. So how can we make sure that our brand is the everywhere brand, that we're visible not only when they first go to a search engine and search a non-branded search term, again, like bariatric surgery, that in the awareness stage, but how do we continue to stay in front of that individual until they do become that patient? And again, we understand how patients are searching. More than 90% of the time, the search starts with a non-branded search term that typically is like a condition, a treatment, a therapy, and only 10% of the time do they start with a brand name that they know. So even if they are familiar with brands in your area, it's likely that they're Googling what's wrong with them and how to fix it before they're actually Googling who can help them fix it. So we have that opportunity to be visible. Even if Sanford has Carson Wentz on TV talking about how great they are, again, I've seen the commercials. It's all well and good, but we can still compete in the digital space. And we do have a lot of different service lines. And ultimately, again, what we want to focus on is strategies that drive revenue. Ultimately, for us, that's the best way to drive results, to have long-term relationships. And then we can get into phase 2 and phase 3 things that, again, are important to our overall operations and support that journey. But we want to invest in things like search engine optimization and pay-per-click management so that individuals can see us on that search engine results page. We also want to invest in content creation. Again, it supports our on-site SEO and helps us be more visible in search, but it also allows us to be a thought leader. Again, doing a competitive analysis, and I'm sure you guys have look at it every week. There is a ton of content, a ton of authority coming from the guy down the street. So how do we compete with that? How do we make ourselves a local thought leader? Again, a great example would be if you have a great brand around your OBGYN and in your local area you are thought of that, you are thought of as a thought leader for that area and definitely a trusted provider of care. Now, how can you leverage that and become more of a thought leader in the online space so that people can see all of the great things that you guys are doing, the advancements you're making? And then how do we share that stuff? How do we make sure people can see it? Well, the first thing is it's got to be optimized. And the second thing is amplify through email marketing automation and social media. Again, there's a lot of strategies that we can talk about and invest in, but ultimately I want to really understand, where your gaps are in your current strategy and where we can help fill, but also make sure that we're driving a sustainable long-term ROI that, again, makes sense for your business. So what I'd like to do is really discuss first how search works. It's really, really important for us as your SEO agency as well as yourself to understand how Google is actually ranking websites, just so we can make sure that we're focusing on the right areas. And really how search works is, again, let's remember that the online space is huge. There's over 30 trillion web pages out there, and Google basically has to go out and find all of these websites, jump link to link, and then store it on these big servers. Once they've stored it on their servers, they have this, again, a really great algorithm. It's very advanced, that is going to look at, say, a search term or a search query, and it's going to run that against the algorithm and produce a search engine results page for that user. And then ultimately what we're hoping for is that they end up on your website. And there's really only 3 areas that you can rank in a search engine results page. The one is paid. It's at the very top. It's the first thing anybody sees. The next is the local listings piece, or the local 3-pack. And then finally organic. And as you can see, organic is on the lower half of the page. So how can we make sure that we're driving visibility across all 3 sections for our clients? And why that's so important is because where you rank really dictates how much traffic you get. So this is a click curve chart that's really just showing that if you're in the first position and somebody's on a smartphone, you can capture up to, say, maybe 35%. So that means if 1,000 people a month search OBGYN Bismarck, that you're going to capture roughly 350 brand new users, which is great. By the time you get to the bottom of the first page, you're still on the first page, but you're in the 10th position, you're getting less than 1%. And again, if you do the math, less than 1% isn't a whole lot of traffic. So how can we make sure that we're visible not only organically in the right positions, really in the top 5 or top 3, but also how can we get visible in some of those other areas where users are clicking? And how do we do that? It really hinges on integration. SEO breaks down into 3 specific areas. The first is technical, and that just means making sure Google can find your website, they can index it and store it. And another piece is making sure that it loads extremely fast, not only for users, but for search engines. The next piece is on-site content. This is what a lot of individuals who are familiar with SEO or have heard the term before. This is where your keywords are at. We need to make sure that we're evaluating keywords based on search intent, search volume, and competitive landscape. And then we've got to get them in the right places on your website so Google can recognize who you are, what you do, and where you do it. Lastly, off-site link authority. This is basically how Google judges the credibility of your website. Google knows that you guys are a great business, you've been around for a while, but they want to make sure that other people think that your website's worth sharing. And so ultimately we have to build that authority, build external links to do that. And then ultimately your best results are when you focus on all 3 simultaneously. So what I wanted to share, after understanding now where is Google focused, I wanted to share a little bit deeper dive into where you guys rank today. And ultimately, again, what is Google really looking at when they're trying to rank websites? So what I wanted to do was I wanted to share first, what is Google actually evaluating when they're ranking brands in this area, the local 3-pack or the map pack. You can see that first, of course, your Google My Business page, of course, because we're looking at Google, your Google My Business page is the most important. This is a direct link. This is what they want to see. They want to see reviews. They want to see optimized descriptions. They want to see at least 3 photos. I know it sounds silly, but there's a lot of things that you have to do to make sure Google's happy. The next piece is your link signals. This is that authority piece that I was telling you about. It's very, very important even in the map pack. On-page signals, this is making sure that your name, address, phone number are on your website and you're using the right keywords as I just mentioned. And the last piece is citation signals, which is really online directories like YP, Superpages, Hotfrog, 411.com. Those are all what Google considers to be directories, and ultimately what we want to do is make sure that on every directory that Google looks at, which is about 300 of them, that your brand is listed, your name, address, phone number is correct and accurate, and it is exactly as you have it on your Google My Business page. And then we want to manage that month over month to ensure consistency. And so now that we understand where we're at in the local 3-pack, I want to talk about this organic section. In the organic section, you can see that all of the variables stay the same, but they change positions and weights. What didn't change much is that link signals are still very, very important. The authority of your website is definitely the #1 ranking factor, followed then by the keywords that you're using. So again, I always want to talk about your keywords are important, but they only make up 24%. They're not even a quarter of the puzzle to your SEO strategy. So it's so much more than that. And SEO is, I always compare it to a 1,000-piece puzzle. I'm not a big puzzle guy, but if you've ever laid 1,000 pieces out in front of you and really tried to go through it, you've got to make sure that you do all the little things right. First being start in the corner. So we want to make sure that we are starting in the right places and moving your strategy forward and focusing in the right areas. Again, keywords are definitely important, but there's more to do. Lastly, your citation signals and My Business signals are still important. They make up about 15% of how you rank down here. So not only is this important to rank in the top section, it's very, very important to rank in the local listing section, but it's also very important, over 15% of where you rank organically. So at this point, you're saying, Phil, I'm an SEO expert. I get it. Tell me where I rank. So what we did was we pulled a non-branded ranking report. So we made sure that we're not looking at Mid-Dakota Clinic. You guys do rank well for your own brand name, which is key. But what I'm very, very interested in is those that don't know your brand name. As I mentioned, when the search first starts for healthcare related terms, 90% of the time they're searching these keywords, not your brand name. So how do you rank as an entire website? Well, the first thing that I see here is that ultimately your blue is your first page rankings, and that's that is exactly where we want to be. We want to see a lot of blue on this page. There's a magnolia or a gold here that's tough to see. That's page 2. green is page 3, and this big section here is rankings on page 4 through 10. And ultimately, just some quick takeaways. We have basically flatlined this entire year. So for the last 12 months, we've been flatlined, and you guys work in the healthcare industry, so you know what that means. If we're not moving forward, we're moving backwards. So ultimately, again, while this has stayed also pretty flatlined, which is a little bit concerning, the most important part is, are we moving keywords and our page rankings from page 3 to page 2 to page 1? And right now we're not. And so again, I think we rank for a lot of great keywords. What this shows me is 700 plus keywords. Google can find our site relatively easily. It does rank us, but we're missing some of those deeper optimizations and some more of that focus. So how does that compare to Sanford? It doesn't. They are doing things excellent. They have a great platform, and they have deep pockets. The great thing is, though, that even with deep pockets and a bunch of keyword rankings, we're still able to compete with these guys online. And what I wanted to do is, this is all the Sanford Health. So this is their whole health system. So I know that you're saying, wow, Phil, why are you showing me this? The reason I'm showing you this is because they are an authority in Google's eyes. They do rank very, very well. But what I wanted to do was get more specific. So I wanted to look at Bismarck, their actual Bismarck location. And what we can see is that they too have not been gaining a lot of rankings over the course of the last year. They have been producing some content, so you can see that that trend line kind of goes down and then runs straight back up, and they're still kind of, their highs keep getting higher. So what that means is they're trending up and to the right. So they are producing content, they're being found more relevant, and they are ranking for more organic keywords. So ultimately, Sanford, just in our Bismarck market, is somebody that we're going to compete with on an everyday search engine results page. And so I want to dive into some of the reasons why we have flatlined, why we're not seeing increase in rankings for us at Mid-Dakota Clinic. I mentioned the accuracy of your local listings was one of the more important ranking factors. Again, about 30% in the map pack and 15% organically. What this represents is how often does Google find the exact name, address, phone number that it's looking for, which is the one that's on your Google My Business page. Only 43% of the time they're finding it accurate and correct. For Google, that's a huge problem. They want to see you at least 80%. Our clients tend to stay around 95. We manage, again, local listings for all of those clients on the slide earlier. And the importance is understanding, one, we're missing from a lot of directories. That's a big 0. So if our reach isn't there, Google's still looking for our listing there. So if it can't find it, it says, oh, that's not a null and void, it's a big 0 for us. We've got a lot of duplicate listings out there. This happens with doctor listings a lot. We know that they move a lot. And again, with our physical location, we know that there's a ton of numbers on our website. So those, the numbers can get really picked up and pulled into the local listing space. So we want to make sure we go out and clean that up. And then lastly, again, we're just finding a bunch of inconsistencies. And Google is a business. Google has really one function, and that is to serve its users the most relevant and accurate results. If Google's not at least 80% sure that they have the right information, they are unwilling to serve your listing to their user, because Google is such an authority that they don't want to have a bad brand experience where it looks like to the user that it's Google's fault the phone number is wrong, when in fact Google's clearly telling us, hey, go fix your phone number, go fix your address, your name, and we'll start to show you more often. So there's an immediate opportunity across all doctor listings and all physical brick and mortar listings to increase your off-site SEO. Another piece that I talked about were your link signals, your domain authority. I wanted to show you the difference and really why somebody like Sanford Health has 10,000 rankings with 10% of those on the first page of Google. It's because their domain authority score is 71 out of 100. And right now we're at 28 out of 100. All that means is that Google thinks that they're more authoritative, but it doesn't mean that they are. So what we want to do is we want to continue to fix our name, address, phone number issues to drive more citations to move this up. but we also want to go find links and build that authority so people can see that you are producing good content, that you do have a great operation, and you really are an authority in the space. And so ultimately, what I'd like to do is move forward from the on-site or the off-site SEO and talk just briefly about what Google is looking at for your keywords in your on-site SEO. So there's really three main variables that Google's going to look at when it comes to your page. First, it's going to look for your page title. It needs to be unique. It needs to speak to the service that is on our page, and also the location that service is provided. Again, SEO is a lot about doing the little things right, and at all chances, tell Google who we are, what we do, and where we do it. So again, let's make sure that we're telling Google what service we provide in the market that we provide it. The header tag should relate to, but not be duplicated. It should relate to this page title. Your body copy obviously should relate to both. And what Google is looking for is important keywords. Like if you look right here, our header tag is medical services. If I Google medical services right now, I'm in the middle of Cleveland, Ohio. I will find all the locations around me because I didn't specify a location. Again, that's a great place to put a little geo modifier in there. If I want Google to understand that I'm not supplying medical service nationally, but I'm doing it very specifically in Bismarck, I need to say medical services in Bismarck. That way, again, we can help Google match that to individual search queries and also provide more location signals. So if somebody is in the middle of Bismarck and they Google medical services, your page now has a better chance to rank. And again, I just wanted to show you, really how it appears on a search engine results page. Right now, your current title is Mid-Dakota Clinic, which is a branded term, obviously. And then your next piece is your service line or your non-branded search term. Unfortunately, we're missing where is this happening? What location are we doing it in? And then again, really just duplicating those keywords. It's an opportunity to increase what we call keyword density and diversity. So what we want to do is we want to target as many different search variations as we can in the most important variables. So there's, again, immediate opportunities both from a doctor and physical brick and mortar listing, but also from a holistic SEO approach. And lastly, really want to, give you why you really should partner with Link Media and MMG. Again, we're a combined effort, and the first thing is you're going to get a dedicated team of digital marketing experts that work with the Cleveland Clinic, Parkview Health, Parkview Physicians Group. You're going to have a team that does medical services and focuses, again, exclusively in the clinical space. And you're also going to get a dedicated account executive. And so what that means is you're not going to submit a ticket. You're going to pick the phone up and you're going to call one of our team members here, and you're going to talk to somebody. We respond to our clients within 3 hours. So you're going to hear from us, and you're going to hear from us today. Every single month, we are going to walk through your data and analytics. What we want to do is what's called AIA. Analytics, I want to take all the raw numbers, and then I want to provide insights. So AI, the last thing is an action plan. So when we sit down, this is a strategy meeting as much as it is a reporting meeting. I want to tell you the results, I want to tell you what they mean for your business, and I want us to come up with an action plan to move forward. Again, an idea without a plan doesn't get us very far. So we want to make sure that we're executing, we're being held accountable on both sides, and ultimately, again, getting things approved and continue to publish. Lastly, we're going to be an extension of your internal team. We really want to understand your business deeper than just the services that you provide, and we want to understand how to really impact at the bottom line. So ultimately, again, I do appreciate the time for watching this video, and hopefully this will be the impetus to get together and sit down and have a meeting. Thanks so much, and talk to you soon.